Today we are revisiting and rating Mariah Carey's Charmbracelet album. Hey kids, Treacle here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are traveling back to the early 2000s. It is time to revisit and rate Charmbracelet by Mariah Carey. It came out in 2002. Now for this video, for the purposes of rating the album, I am going to base it off the tour edition, the re-release that came out mid 2003, I think it was, following on from the original version coming out late 2002. Here in the UK, we got Miss You on the regular version as a UK bonus track, and I think we got I Know What You Want as well. I'm pretty sure we got that on the December 2002 release. I need to look that up. But when we got the re-release, which coincided with her kicking off the Charmbracelet World Tour in Asia, I think it coincided with that kickoff for the tour. We got the So So Def remix for The One, Got a Thing For You, There Goes My Heart. So it is the fullest version of the album Charmbracelet, and that is what I'm basing this video on. So Charmbracelet, after Glitter, Mariah well, she didn't put the album to rest as quickly as maybe I thought she might have. She did continue to promote it and do a couple of performances of songs from the album into 2002. So she didn't kind of run away from it as quickly as maybe people thought she might have. But I need to remind myself what were the logistics of her getting out of that Virgin Records deal. What was that transition period? And then she moved to Island Def Jam, and there's another transition period, another moment of upheaval for her. But she wanted to roll her sleeves up and get to work pretty quickly in her new record deal. And at the end of 2002, we had Charmbracelet. The Charmbracelet era was a very special one for me. It's a time where I was spending time meeting Mariah. When she would come over to London to promote the project, I would go up into London and try and get to the TV studios and be in the audience. Things like Top of the Pops and CD UK, and be outside the hotels and things like that. It was during the promotional trip for Through the Rain in London that I got my first ever photo with Mariah and a few autographs and things like that. Very happy memories. On to the Charmbracelet tour. I went to all 4 of the UK dates, and I went backstage at the Wembley one. So again, more incredible memories. I do share these and more stories in a video talking about that whole period. If you haven't checked it out already, I'll make sure I include the link in the description so you can go and see it. So let's get stuck into this album rating video then. I have my 5 categories as always. I've got my notes right here to remind me of a few things because I like to be thorough. I look back at these videos afterwards and I interact with you guys in the comments, and people say, what about this song? Or, oh, you didn't mention that one. You don't like that one? I'm like, no, I do. I just forgot about it. So I've got some notes here today to try and keep me on course. The first category is songs. A score out of 10. How much do I enjoy the songs on this album? This one is a real mixed bag because I'm a sucker for ballads. I say this over and over here on my channel, and I get that itch scratched thoroughly with Through the Rain and My Saving Grace. Mariah has said a few times that Through the Rain wasn't her vibe for a launch single. She wanted to go with The One, I believe, but the label wanted her to have this kind of woe is me sob story thing. Her words, not mine. And I guess it makes sense for, you're coming off the back of Glitter, you need to kind of acknowledge what happened. She went on Oprah and spoke about it, and I think the song served its purpose. But more than that, it's a really good song and a really good vocal. So I was very happy to get Through the Rain. My Saving Grace, my God, what a lyric, what a vocal performance, what a song. Other songs I really enjoy. I do enjoy I Only Wanted. Nearly couldn't get the words out. I Only Wanted feels like a follow-on from After Tonight, which is a follow-on from My All. And it just feels like each iteration is slightly weaker. Love My All, we all do. I do love After Tonight, and I like I Only Wanted. I'm not in love with it. If I'm really honest, the water drop effect that's part of the percussion kind of annoys me, only because I hear it and I just hear it as an isolated sound, and I'm always just find myself waiting to catch it repeating, if this makes any sense. It doesn't blend in for me. It just kind of is there every so often. So I like I Only Wanted, but I don't love it. Other songs that I really do enjoy are The One, Lullaby, because Lullaby follows on from The Roof. We're going to talk about that. And I also really enjoy Miss You. We had that on the standard version of the album here in the UK. And then when we got the reissue, There Goes My Heart, which I believe was done with live instrumentation. And it's another example of why I really hope we get like a live band kind of jazz album from Mariah at some point in the future. Overall, I'm going to give the songs on Charmbracelet 7.5 out of 10. There are some that I'm just, same with every album, some that I like, but I don't feel the need to play over and over. We'll get to those later. But the ones that I like, I think are really, really strong. And Charmbracelet is an album that isn't discussed quite enough for my liking. There are really good songs in this album. 7.5. Next up is lyrics. So taking the melody away, taking the vocals away, just sitting with the lyrics, reading them. What score am I going to give them out of 10? What do I think of the lyrics? How am I connecting to the lyrics? For me, Charmbracelet at times, it kind of feels like Mariah's she's trying to have another butterfly moment. She stepped into a situation where Rainbow had to be kind of rushed and put out because she wanted to get out of that record deal. Glitter was a soundtrack movie project moment, and Charmbracelet is her, right, let's do a studio album, let's not really like take her time. She did that after Charmbracelet with the 3-year wait for Emancipation, but she wanted to get another studio album under her belt and to have like a proper Mariah Carey project. And it feels like she's trying to have a follow-on, not a follow-on from Butterfly maybe, but that kind of moment, because it is introspective. It is very, very personal at times. We have got Lullaby following on from The Roof, even referencing The Roof within the melody and the lyrics of Lullaby. Subtle Invitation is a great song, and we know she's harking back to past lovers and things, and that links in with the memoir. And of course, Sunflowers for Alfred Roy, a deeply, deeply personal song. And then there are more commercial moments with some generic lyrics. I'm looking at Boy, I'm looking at You Got Me, for things like that. So on balance, 7 out of 10 for lyrics, because there are some diary moments. They call them diary moments. So Butterfly is so personal, and it's her life there, you know, on the page for you. And Charmbracelet has splatterings of that, I think. So 7. Okay, next up we have vocals. So what score would you give this album in terms of a vocal performance? Now, this is the Whisper album. This is a very, very pulled back, whispery, breathy tones. There's a lot of it. It still has some power vocals. Subtle Invitation, climax. Bring On the Heartbreak, climax. My Saving Grace, Through the Rain is like a fairly middle of the road, but a strong ballad moment. There are some really, really strong vocals, but there are lots of songs where it's breathy, and it's breathy throughout. Again, You Got Me, You Had Your Chance, Boy, so many hooks, so many choruses, so many verses. There's so many parts of the album where it's more breathy, it's more whispered, and she was critiqued for that, and she's acknowledged it, and she said, hey, sometimes I don't feel like belting all the time. Belting is boring. I like to show the different textures of my voice, and she does do that on this album. But there's not enough variation for me. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for vocals, because they're not bad vocals, don't get me wrong. They are fantastic vocals, but sometimes even within a song, there's not enough variation. It's like it hits a level vocally, and it doesn't really go anywhere new. So I find myself not getting bored, but especially now because I know the song so well, I find myself, well, I'm not waiting for like a favorite bit. You know how sometimes in songs there's just one ad lib or just one little lick, like something, not even like a full on run, but just something she does with her voice, and you can't wait to get to that part of the song. There's less of those moments for me on this album. The next category is unity or cohesion, how well the entire album flows from top to bottom, how it all works as a body of work. So, Charmbracelet is a mixed bag, and I feel like Mariah kind of gives us this project and acknowledges that by saying, what was it she said? Each song is like a charm on a charm bracelet that I'm passing down to you, or something along those lines. Each song is its own moment, and it isn't necessarily, for me, a top to bottom listen. I did sit and consider, would I change songs around in the track listing? Would that make me love the album more? I don't think it comes down to that. I just think that it's quite a heavy album in terms of volume. I think the regular version is already like an hour 10 or something, and that's before we get the tour edition with the additional songs. So there's a lot to take in. There are a lot of songs. I think what I would do is to make it kind of flow better. I feel like it needs just a bit more rhythm, and some of the songs are long, especially by 2020 standards, where a song gets like 2:45, 3 minutes, and we are done, we're tapping out. There were a few songs on this album that are, 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes, over 5 minutes. So I think maybe I would just shorten some of the songs down to make it flow a little bit better. Unity is getting a score of 6. It's trying to be different things at different times, and I feel like the identity of Charmbracelet isn't as strong as others. If that makes sense, tell me in the comments. The final category is longevity. How well has the album stood the test of time? How do I feel about it now I'm revisiting it several years later? And just how often do I find myself reaching for the album for another listen? So this one, I knew going in, it was going to be one of my lower scores, I think, just for longevity, because I just don't find myself reaching for it. And it's a weird thing because Charmbracelet is underrated. It's not given enough discussion time amongst the Lamely, maybe. I think because it is long and it is the Whisper album, and there's not lots of like really strong commercial songs, maybe. I think a lot of people sleep on it. I feel like I've heard that, or I've seen that a lot on social media. Mariah herself, interestingly, has said she still really likes the album and she considers some of her best songs on there. And there are some really good moments for her as a songwriter. I'm looking at Lullaby when I say that. I'm looking at Sunflowers for Alfred Roy when I say that. So there are really strong moments, but at the same time, it is a little bit forgettable. There are songs that I'm happy to hear them, but I don't put them on playlists, like You Got Me, like Irresistible, You Had Your Chance. Yeah, I don't know, it's a weird one. I'm going to give longevity a 5, which sounds low, but it's just me. I feel like for me giving a 5, it's like a C. A 6 is a C+. Maybe that would have been a better way to do this racing series. Grades, not numbers. Well, we're like halfway through or whatever now, so I'm sticking with it. But for me, 5 is kind of like a grade C. So I'm going to give it a 5. It was acknowledged when it came out, but it got a bit of a lukewarm reception. And I think because it's lacking some commercial smashes, like Butterfly was a very, very personal album, but it became accessible because of commercial success through Honey and My All. Charmbracelet didn't really have that kind of impact, and so it didn't really come to like a big bubbling, boiling, hot pot, sensation moment. It was just a bit quiet on the radar, and I don't forget about it. I don't skip it. I know a lot of people write it off and they don't ever revisit it. I'm not subscribing to that. I do enjoy Charmbracelet. I just don't think it's had as much of an impact on Mariah's legacy as other albums. So that's why it's getting its 5 C+, C. So adding all that together, that gives Charmbracelet a total score of 31.5, putting it just above Glitter. Now, I was quite surprised by this. I thought that Charmbracelet would be a little bit higher and maybe pip some of the other albums. As I've said, it is strong and I do really like it. It's just lacking in a couple of areas. Maybe it's just the wow factor, the X factor. I've tried to maybe verbalize and explore it out loud here within this video. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I didn't know going into this video it would be as low as that. I would not have been surprised if it were higher. Maybe I was expecting it to be a bit higher and I'm surprised it's this low. But anyway, 31.5, that's where it currently sits on my leaderboard. And before we go, we have got 2 more things to pick as always. Let me know your choices in the comments. We have got to pick a repeat and a skip. So first up, the repeat. If I forced you to pick one song to repeat, what would it be? Now for me, this has changed over the years. It used to be My Saving Grace because I've always been such a sucker for ballads, like I always say, but that's not the case anymore. I am enjoying different songs more or less as time goes by, and I'm actually going to pick as a repeat. I'm going to embrace the fact I'm working off of the re-release for this video, so I'm going to go with There Goes My Heart. I really love that, and it's very subdued, it's very chilled, but I freaking love There Goes My Heart. So I'm going to pick that as my repeat, and that is actually very closely followed up by Miss You, which I always enjoyed, but lately I think I kind of forget it's on there, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Miss You, and I'm always really happy to hear that song again. So that's my close second, but my repeat is going to be There Goes My Heart. And then we have the skip. So if you had to skip one song from this album, what would it be? And remember, this is just for fun. There's no hate on anything. But if you had to pick a song, which one? So I've got a few contenders, but I'm going to go with Irresistible because it's just not my favorite off the album, and it is a bit long. It's repetitive. It kind of gets to where it's going to go, and then it doesn't go any place new after that. It kind of just stays at that level, and it stays there for quite some time. So that would be my skip. Some other close seconds, maybe possibly, oh yeah, definitely You Got Me. Definitely You Got Me. Could have been at one. And also Got a Thing For You. Yeah, considering the re-release package, I'm not a massive fan of that one. But my skip is going to be Irresistible. How about you guys? What would your repeat be and what would your skip be? Let me know in the comments. It's always interesting to find out which songs you guys pick, because sometimes my skip is your repeat and sometimes my repeat is your skip. And it's great that amongst the Lamely, every song has a moment with somebody. So I actually get really excited when somebody picks my skip as their repeat, and that's cool. Okay, so some of my least favorites are your favorites. That's amazing. I love the fact that every album has something for everyone, and I feel like that's why a lot of Mariah's albums are a little bit like trying to have several moments and trying to hit several notes at once, because she's very aware that some people want the mid-tempos, somebody want the up tempos, and some people want the really personal songs, and she's trying to please everybody, and it's not easy. So it's always really interesting. So yeah, if you played along and you picked a skip and you picked a repeat, let me know in the comments. I would love to read. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm having fun here on my channel, reliving and honoring and celebrating the Charmbracelet era. I will be revisiting and rewatching some live performances from the Charmbracelet era, so watch out. Maybe you've got a favorite one. Maybe I will be covering that. And if not, let me know in the comments what your favorites are. Maybe I will try and fit in a couple of extra videos and watch those live performances for you here on my channel. I'll see you back here again very soon. Cheers, thanks a lot.